the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody, and welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you, as always, by our good friends at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Anthony Hartwig alongside DJ Yoakley in the captain's chair today. Welcome into a Thursday. DJ, how was your Wednesday? How's your Thursday morning going?
Busy, my friend. It just seems like it always just gets crazier and crazier. I put out this morning, Steve Leslie sent me a picture of all the fun they're having at the Golden Dawn and some of these places, doing these coaches' corners. And I put it out there just kind of like facilitating, hey, if you want to do this, we'd love to have you. And all of a sudden, like everybody is wanting us to come out and do there, which is good. Right. It's a great opportunity to promote local business, promote the kids and the communities, the programs, and all that stuff. So it's just fast and furious. I mean, I'm getting text messages and emails and everything you can imagine. So exciting stuff, and hopefully some chances to try out some of the new food or food that I haven't had in the last 6 years.
You know, it's awesome because you go to all these communities. In most of them, there's one place that's like entwined with the high school and their community, and you don't have to go very far to find it. But now everyone's trying to reach out, and wouldn't it be cool if we had a restaurant for 20 different schools that we go to? I know that's a big number, but I was just throwing out one for the sake of it.
Well,
but
it's one of those things where and Steve has been the engineer behind all of this. He's been the guy, and it was something I've thought about for a long time and tried to do. But Steve's really embraced it and has been going around because I think the kids enjoy it. The families enjoy it. Live shows are always kind of cooler because you see kind of how we work. And it's always, as much as I love this, trust me, from a standpoint of being able to be on anywhere in the world, right. There's something about being with somebody and breaking bread and talking about, what they do and how they do it. That's a little bit more genuine and authentic. So I'm excited. Steve's really excited for this, as he should be. And the biggest thing for us, though, is, again, it goes back to finding the people to come do this stuff. And that means like YSN personalities and YSN talent, because, when you're doing that, that takes an hour and a half, 2 hours out of the day that we're typically doing games and things of that nature. So I think I was just talking to Quinn, and I think we have, by the end of the week, we should have every single day during the week lined up for coaches' corners for YSN and those, different schools, different nights. And again, shout out to Quinn and Richie and Steve and Romo, because those guys are really putting in a lot of hours into that. And I mean, it's great content. Great content.
I love the interviews at Golden Dawn that we're seeing so far. I mean, I love seeing, like you said, there's something about seeing the players and the coaches right next to the person that's interviewing them, and that kind of atmosphere. It's a different. It's almost like your late night talk show kind of feel, where you can really see how they respond directly to the question that's being asked to them. I love that kind of interview. It's great content. It's great to watch.
Hey, as a tech company, I'm never going to complain about tech, but at the end of the day, sometimes, I mean, we've seen it on this show, we've seen it on my show. Sometimes they can't get in, or the internet's bad. The internet's never bad whenever you're face to face. Like, there's an easy Wi-Fi connection from one person to the next when you're having that. So again, shout out to Quinn and especially him, because he does everything behind the scenes. Like, we do a lot, in front of the camera, but Quinn's the guy that's putting the work in behind the scenes, and Brian making sure that everything's kind of clicking so that way we can deliver, whether it's live or taped or whatever it may be. I was out there with Andy yesterday at Koofleitner's, and John Koofleitner is a guy that I admire so much. And Andy says, hey, we're going to put a table up here and we're just going to talk some football and talk shop. And people enjoy it. They really do. And again, face to face, even though I'm still kind of one of those guys that enjoys this because I can get 7 or 8 of these done at a time.
Right.
There's something about, the relationships that you build and being right across from a person. And when you ask somebody a question, being able to see their response and how they react in live and in person, it's always fun.
Were you still on that spinning platform at Koofleitner's like you were last year?
No, they had I forget what they had on that platform yesterday, but it was an orange car and it was probably valued at well over my house. So I was like, because my biggest fear is, even though we're insured and I don't know whose insurance would have to cover it, I always worry about somebody bumping it, because there's probably 10, 12 cars in there.
Right.
In that showroom. And I'm always worried about, like, hey, somebody's not looking and, hits it, even though it's guarded off and everybody's watching you move those cars. It scares the bejesus out of me, Anthony. Like, I don't want to be the guy that's responsible for, a $200,000 car, hitting another car and $300,000 worth of damage or whatever it may be, because those cars are unbelievable. There was 2 Scat Packs that we were sitting in front of yesterday that were, I mean, I can only imagine what they are, to buy out. It's just, but they're fun to sit next to.
It's one of those ones where you ask how much it is and they say if you have to ask, you can't afford it.
I do that all the time. I'm like, hey, how much is this? How much is this? How much is this? And usually I ask Andy, what kind of deal can you get me on this? And he's like, cold-blooded. You don't want it. You can't get it, brother.
That's a great Andy Hick impression, and I'm sure the conversation with him was great yesterday. It's always great. We loved it last year. That was the first edition this year, right?
Yeah, it was the first week this year. We've been trying to work some things out with the advertising side of things, and I think we're close. And we'll be looking forward to getting out at Greenwood Chevrolet here in a little bit, as they're our primary sponsor here, our exclusive Chevrolet sponsor of YSN. And, I know people are starting to take notice. And I know Greg, which, by the way, I don't know if we ever talked about this, signed on happily for another year. Yeah. So kudos and credit to Greg Greenwood, 898 marketing team that was working diligently on helping us get this deal taken care of for another year. And Greg Greenwood absolutely loves what we do. So shout out to them. And I'm in need of a car. So I'm going to be headed out to Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown to try to dump my Equinox and get something to play with.
So as the CEO, can you officially say any of those new places that we're going to be going to next week? Or are they still getting the pen and paper signed that we can't release those yet?
Not till they sign on the dotted line. We got some great ones, some historic restaurants that we're talking to right now. One that is very new, one that I'm very excited about that we're visiting tonight with Steve, and the South Range Raiders are ones that this particular I don't know, establishment, I guess, circled and said, hey, we would love to have the Raiders as our guests and bring Raider Nation and bring Coach Yeagley. So I did perhaps my last Coach Yeagley interview from the comfort of my seat here. So
that's gonna. I think that's gonna be great for you because you have such a close relationship with the guy to see you be able to interview him right next to him. It's gonna bring people into how close you two are.
We used to before this,
right?
We did it like I'm trying to think. It was like my phone. I don't even have my phone. It's somewhere. And I would interview like this, like an old schoolboy like newspaper thing, right?
Right.
And then we got StreamYard right before COVID, and I thought this was the bee's knees, man. Like being able to see people and pop it up, and we were one of the original adopters of StreamYard. We were the ambassadors. I mean, there's there's so many different shows right now, even locally, that use StreamYard because we use StreamYard. And that's good because I always kind of want to be ahead, right? And people see how good the stuff is with what we do, and they try to emulate it in whatever form that they do. That's fine. That doesn't bother me. Like as competitive as I am, that's fine. As long as we're always on top. And that seems to always be the case. Because we constantly add things and just kind of, little gizmos and gadgets all the time and the backgrounds and stuff like that. So I'm cool with it. But the thing about it is when COVID hit, this was it, right? I remember like having the conversation of, do we shut down or do we keep marching? And StreamYard saved us a ton because we were still able to interview kids without being on, in person. So, and everybody else was using Zoom, which is fine. It's another great platform. But StreamYard's always been phenomenal for us.
Yeah, and I could be wrong, but I feel like the Zoom didn't let you go live, if I'm not mistaken. Like you couldn't stream live from Zoom to social media platforms like you can with StreamYard.
Correct. And that was an obstacle, but now you can, but you have to pay for it. And we pay for StreamYard. We have a paid subscription to it. But at the same time, we can record, we can add our logos. We do so much with it. The tickers now that we have the live games on it. And we're hoping tomorrow, fingers crossed. I know Quinn's going to be back here, so maybe we'll put B. Miller on it. But we think we can add scores in game, and have it on audible call and rotate on the ticker. Quinn's saying, what? I don't know.
You mean kind of like the ESPN bottom line where you can see other scores from games on the...
Yeah, so we have the scores of the game. So in talking to Quinn and talking to some of the other people, and this isn't right, so I'm going to put it up right now. So I apologize. Just as a heads up, this is not the right banner. Where is it? Running Point, maybe? So like this. Check this out. So we have this, right?
Right.
I did that the other day, but you just add scores to it. And then you can update the scores as it goes. And I think people will be more attracted to that. And we already get a ton of people on Audible Call, especially on our website. But if you're on, we want to see more comments. We want to see more people on social and engaging on Audible Call. And I think that having a score ticker at the bottom will do just that. So we're going to try it out, see how it goes.
And it's perfect because I was in the gunner chair last week, and one of the most common comments was just asking for a score of a game that we weren't at that point. Like, hey, give us an update on the Brookfield score, or give us an update on so and so. If you got a ticker, then you can that's the best of both worlds.
I think so, and I think there's a lot of things that you can do with that ticker that enhance the show, enhance the opportunity for Mike, because it's even the audible call. And we've talked about it with Mike. We've talked about it with obviously our sponsors, WRS. We talked about it with everybody that's involved. We want that show to evolve with the people that are watching it. So scores are very important to people. They want it here. They want it now. They want it. And we have availability and access to all those scores every single night because we're streaming them. So, to be able to add that component is just another kind of layer on the cake that we can sit there and go, okay, you want scores? They're here. Stay tuned in. Instead of just tuning in and tuning out, you'll have to stay. Because if we have 27 games a night, it's going to take a minute on that ticker, kind of like watching the old days when we were seeing if we had school or not. It's like you're sitting there waiting for your school if you got canceled or a 2-hour delay. So I think that'll be advantageous to everybody involved. And again, just another piece that we're just, bolting on to the package that we call YSN.
I'll always remember Southern Local because it was the one that was right after South Range alphabetically. And if I saw Southern, I knew I missed South Range.
Too late.
I had to sit there for a while.
Did you ever have? And I relate this to I didn't have cable growing up, but when we went to my grandma's, we had cable, and the TV guide thing that scrolls down.
Right.
Oh my gosh! ESPN was 27 or something when I was growing up, so it was ESPN and Nickelodeon were in the same shot, and when you get to channel 500, you're like, oh my goodness, let's go.
Right.
But you look at that and you go, how much time was wasted watching a channel like that? I fell asleep many a times with a channel because I took so long to get to the channel that I wanted to, that I was already zonked out. And I'd wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh, okay, TV's still on. Off.
But the funny thing about that is it changed the game, because now every streaming service that has live TV uses the same format. The only difference is now you can control it yourself with your remote, where you stop, how far you go. But that was the first thing that ever really did that for a TV channel kind of, before that you had to get the TV Guide magazine
and it was
go through it and see.
It was genius because they had advertisers paying for that, because it would run infomercials at the top of the screen. And I'm sitting there as someone who has a business now. I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, that's brilliant. That's genius. Like, they're running advertisements and having the advertisers pay for a channel that shouldn't even exist.
That means that ticker is another thing that we can try to get an advertiser for. Ticker brought to you by so-and-so. It's an opportunity.
I hear people like scores around this area, and I'm not always sure where they get them from, but I'm pretty certain it comes from us anyway. So, hey, you want to sponsor the ticker and sponsor the scores? We're happy to have it.
ysnlive.com/advertise. Get to it.
Look at you.
I got it. You can also get, if you want your restaurant or business to be a home of your local high school, that's where you can go to find that out too. DJ, I think we can officially say that this week is milestone week. We have had milestones out the wazoo. Monday and Tuesday, we had a couple of setters get 1,000 assists. Last night, we had Justin Kosek win his 100th career win at the helm of the Springfield girls soccer program. He'll be on the show at 1 o'clock to talk about it. We also had Grace Hour break the Crestview record for aces in a career with 188 and counting now. So it's officially milestone week. I'm dubbing it.
Well, I mean, and again, we talked about it on Tuesday. I feel like they all kind of get clumped together. You know, like when we're having milestones in basketball, it's like boom, 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 boom. Like we can't pump out graphics fast enough. And now we've got it in volleyball and soccer. You know, football hasn't had that. I'm trying to think if we had any milestones yet this year. Have we?
No, I don't think so.
Not that I saw. But you look at that and you go, okay, when's the football going to come? And, you know, we see a lot of teams and coaches with 200th wins and 100th wins, and I'm happy for them all, man. Again, I'm sure Coach Kosick will say the same thing. Is great experience, and he's happy that he crossed that kind of threshold. However, he's more concerned about the team and moving forward, as most of these players and coaches are. You know, it's a great moment, but at the end of the day, oh gosh, thanks, Billy, appreciate you. Billy will be doing a game for us tonight. It's the Choose Joy game in Lisbon, and he is so valiantly put himself out there and said that he's going to join the YSN ranks because we are slim pickings tonight. And Billy said, "Well, I'll do it," and he's going to have interviews and cover the game. So thank you very much, Mr. Stanton. You earned yourself another golf outing.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night tonight. We're going to have a good show for you for the rest of the line. This lineup, once again, Kosek will come on at 1 o'clock to talk about his 100th career win. We have Emily Foltz, a senior for Jacksonville Volleyball, come on at 12:30. And then at 1:30, we're going to have the newest winner of the Trumbull County Invitational, Bryce Vanhover, from Warren JFK Golf, joining us at 1:30. So we're getting a little bit of everything. Some golf, we're getting some volleyball, getting some soccer, trying to mix it up on a Thursday.
It's not bad. I mean, we all know what Friday happens. It's all football all the time, and you know, getting these other sports in. And here's the other thing. Like, I don't know if you caught this yesterday, but there was someone on one of our comments, I think on Power Hour, that said, "You guys talk about the same teams all the time. Tell us who you want to talk about. Tell us who you want us to interview, because we are open for that. I mean, we're happy to interview whoever would like to be. It makes our job a little bit easier, doesn't it, Ant?
Oh yeah, it does. The comment sections are open, and we will derail any conversation if a comment drives us to that topic. So if we're talking about something and a comment comes up and says, "Hey, what about so and so?" You know, we'll swerve. We're
hard
happy
skids,
to.
man. Hard skids. Put that comment back up real quick,
Okay.
Ant. Look at this. He says, only because Quinn asked. Quinn doesn't ask. Quinn demands. I ask. Quinn demands. He is the guy that if Quinn's calling you, you know you're in business. Like, you're in trouble, because he's like, hey, need you to cover this. Not like, hey, will you? And I love him to death. But I know when I'm getting a call from Quinn as opposed to a text message, I'm going somewhere. Like, I'm on the run. Like, it's one of that's where if you're doing something at the time, you kind of toss your phone. You're like, ugh. Like, I don't know. I don't want any piece of that. But no, Billy, appreciate you, stepping in. And again, an official welcome to the YSN family. He's been such an advocate for such a long time. Of course, he's known best for the meatballs are in the crock pot. Yep. Naturally, the one-liner. And I'm excited for that tonight. Always willing to get different athletes in different schools exposure. YSN is there. Just ask. Thank you, Siggy. Very appreciated, my friend. And you want to talk about a guy that goes above and beyond for YSN. Siggy.
He wears the banner on his chest. I'll tell you that much.
I think he's got a tattoo somewhere, because it's just, and he sent me a full disclosure, little look behind the curtain. He sends me a text message last night, and he goes, hey, porch is open. Porch is where the think tank is when I'm with Siggy, because it all starts flowing, and it's, hey, what about this? And it's always pushing the envelope, which I love. But yours truly was passed out on the floor after hanging out with the Z-Man and the B-Girl for the majority of the evening, trying to take some pressure off Mrs. Yoakley. And I fell asleep on, those foam rollers. So, like, I have I have two. I have one that's, like, completely flat, and I have one that has a bunch of, like, knobs and spikes on it that, like, pressurizes your back. And, like, especially, like, for me, it'll pop your back. Like, if your back cracks a lot. I cracked my back, and I fell asleep watching TV on the floor. Woke up freezing cold, by the way. And Z-Man was right next to me. We go upstairs to bed. I put, he does the brush the teeth thing, goes to bed, gets his nightlight, all that stuff. I go into my room, brush my teeth, and I was out. And I didn't realize what time. It was 8:45. I was zonked. And I woke up at 2:45, like, wide awake, ready to go. Because I'm not used to going to bed that early ever. I was tired as tired could be. And I blame it all on Steve Leslie trying to get me to get these deals signed.
It's all Steve Leslie's fault. But yeah,
always.
Like, back to Chris. He helps us get guests on the show. He points us in a good direction. He pointed us to Maddie Zines yesterday, and that was a great interview. He is just a great ambassador for YSN, and we can't thank him enough. And he's also willing to write stories for us too.
100%. Looks like we got a visitor, Ant.
We do. Emily Foltz, a senior from Jackson Milton Volleyball. Emily, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
And like we say, senior on this team, it means it's your last go around. What's it been like taking everything in and knowing that, like, every time you do it, it's the last time that you're going to do it?
Honestly, it's a bittersweet moment. It's kind of like knowing it's going to come to an end, but enjoying every last second of it. You never know what could happen, honestly. So I'm excited, and I've had a great time this year so far. So it's been a lot of fun, honestly.
Emily, I was so excited to be able to call one of your games. I got the Columbiana game, and it felt like that game was so back and forth the entire time. You were all over the place. I'm trying to locate you at any point during the match, and it was like you were on this side, you were on that side, you were chasing balls out of bounds. It was unbelievable. Where did you get that kind of, you're going to do whatever it takes to win, and that capacity of what you bring to the table?
Honestly, for me, it's like you want to put your all into it. Honestly, 110%. I've always learned that. I've always been taught that. Putting all into a game is like, it's trying to get your team up. It's trying to get hype during the game, trying to bring energy, just doing your all, diving on the ground, getting everything up. It honestly makes every play more intense, So I think that's just the main focus is getting that intensity up.
This team this year has a good mix of seniors and young players on it. What's it been like as a senior, a member of the senior class, to kind of also welcome in the young players and kind of mesh together youth and experience in one team?
I think it's great, honestly. You have a lot of girls coming up that are very diverse. They can play back row, they can play front row, they can fill in for spots that us seniors might leave behind. And they're all hardworking, all of them. They come up, they know to do their job, they know to play their hardest. So it's really nice having that group of girls that are going to try their best and they're going to fill in for your spots once you might leave. It's honestly just nice knowing that they're going to be there.
So when we talk volleyball, it has quickly become my favorite sport to broadcast, and it's for this reason is among the top of the charts. When you go to that fifth set, it is the most exciting period in all of sports. Do you get a little bit amped or excited to be in that fifth set, or do things get a little bit tighter whenever you think about it?
For me, honestly, I get very intense. I get very excited. I get hyped up a lot. You do get that little bit of nervousness, but I just find it. Sorry about that. You've made it to the fifth set, and it's like this is like when you want to put your all into it. The 110% you put into the first 4 sets, you just want to double it or triple it in that last fifth set. You never know what's going to happen. You want to leave everything on the court with you.
You said it before, you love to get amped, you get energetic on the floor, and that's why I love watching you get kills, because you definitely let everyone in the gym know that you just got that point. So from your perspective, take us through what goes through your mind when you get a kill and how excited that makes you and what kind of feeling that is for you.
It's such a great feeling, honestly. It's one of the best feelings I've had out there. It's that adrenaline once you hit the ground and you see it get shanked or hit the floor. It's having your whole team come together. We're all stomping, we're all clapping, screaming. It's probably one of the best feelings I get out there, because everyone's coming together. You have a great set that you just got one off of. You have someone that gets a great pass. You get to recognize everyone in there. So it's honestly just a feeling like no other, basically.
All right. So what is bigger for you? I guess if you had to choose one, would you rather have a big kill? Would you rather have a big block on a big point? Or would you rather just dig all day in the garden? Just keep on digging.
That's kind of tough, because when you get those good digs, you hear the crowd going up. But it might honestly be the big kills that you get, because it's when all the stands start cheering, the bench is cheering. It's kind of a moment to collect how that entire play went, how everyone else passed, because you couldn't have a great hit without, Grace digging the ball or Paige getting a good set. So it's kind of like once you get that kill, it's like recall everything that happened that entire play, whether it was super long and a bunch of different things going on, or whether it was just a bump set spike type thing, So that'd probably be the best for me.
Speaking of your teammate Paige, she became the first player in program history to get 1,000 career assists last week. What was it like for you as a teammate and for you as someone that has been with her through this whole volleyball journey to be there for that moment and to share that with her?
I've spent almost all of my volleyball career with Paige, helping her with the sets, getting amazing sets off of her, getting big kills off of her, and it's always great to see all of it going to such a great thing, her 1,000 assists. It's such a big accomplishment, and honestly, it made me feel good because I got to see all of her hard work pay off, all of everyone's hard work pay off, honestly, and especially everyone coming together for that moment was just so surreal and so amazing, because she worked hard for it. She worked so hard for it, and it's just great seeing it.
Are you okay?
Yeah, it's our school bell.
Do we need to send assistance? I'm a little bit worried. Okay. Emily, this has been a big month for Jackson Milton. It seems like every one of the sports teams is coming out of the woodwork and showcasing talents across the board, and especially this week, a 4-0 football team against a 4-0 football team. What's it like inside the halls right now? You guys have to be amped up, and school spirit has to be at an all-time high.
Oh, it's exciting. We have posters everywhere, signs everywhere, stuff going around, It's just honestly, because I think the senior class is just amazing. We all connect together. We all great athletes going around. So I think just the whole senior class, even the junior class that helps with volleyball and football and stuff, everyone's just so excited for everyone. So seeing it all come together as like a class and as a school, all in the hallways, is just amazing.
DJ said it. It's a big football game on Friday night. What's your favorite part of the Friday night experience as a part of that student section?
Honestly, the cheering, once you get a touchdown and you have the horns going off, everyone cheering, clapping, screaming. It's an amazing feeling, especially 4 years of it, in the student section or at games, away games. So I think just the hype from everyone is amazing.
What's one piece of that football atmosphere that you would love to be dragged over to the volleyball world?
I'd have to say, like, we have a lot of themes when it comes to like football games with the student section and everything. We don't get a lot of it from our student section at volleyball games, which, it's okay. We have a lot of the football players come and support us, which is nice because then the volleyball players will go support them. So it's kind of like a double thing, everyone comes together. But probably like getting big themes around, having a bunch of excitement from everyone.
What's your
So I think
favorite
that'd be the
student
best.
section? What's your favorite student section theme?
The beach theme has always been a good one for me. The sunglasses, the lei necklaces, like all that stuff have always been a good thing.
Every time I go to Jackson Milton, I'm always impressed with kind of the layout of everything because you got your gymnasium here and I think your cafeteria right off the
Yeah.
gymnasium. So my question is to you, number one, do you pack or do you buy? And number two, if you buy, what's the best lunch at JM?
Well, honestly, I usually buy, but the best lunch would probably have to be pasta because there's some good breadsticks that you get with it. And throughout my entire high school, we've had everyone just buy extra breadsticks, and it's always been a big thing at Jackson. Once you see breadstick day on the menu, it was always the hype.
It's
You got
over.
kids hoarding breadsticks into class, like.
Yep. Mhm.
What about Coach Moore and what he's brought to the program? I want to give you a chance to talk about him and what it's been like to be under him and what he's taught you about volleyball and yourself as a person.
Oh, it's been great. He's been a very big, important role when it comes to Jacksonville volleyball. Always been supportive, always making sure to talk to someone after the games to make sure they know, you did great on this. Don't let your head down. You're doing amazing. And even in practices, he's always made sure to let you know that you're doing a great job. Stuff you need to work on, stuff you need to, improve on, but it's always been important stuff that is going to make you better as a player and make you benefit. So I think that's been such an amazing part of like the program right now, and he's done a very great job of doing it.
All right, we've seen how quick you are on your feet on the court. Let's see how quick you are on your feet with a question.
Okay.
What is the number one thing that you've learned about life through volleyball?
Probably like you're gonna have tough times, you're gonna have bad games, but it's what you do after that that's gonna benefit most. If you're gonna pick your head up from it, you could think about it for the rest of your life, but it's never gonna benefit you thinking about a play that you had done wrong 10 minutes ago, in the rest of the game. So I think that's probably one of the biggest aspects.
You nailed it, kiddo.
To dive deeper in that theme, what is the biggest adversity you faced in your career, and how did you kind of get past it and jump over it?
Probably like my confidence when it comes to playing. It's probably been one of the biggest issues I've faced. Might not been having a good hitting game, but the biggest aspect of it is, but I had so many good digs, or I had a lot of good blocks or something like that. It's like kind of just getting my head wrapped around, you're not going to have so many amazing games. You're going to have some tough games. It's just how you react after it that's going to be your biggest, win overall.
Last question for me. From your standpoint, you talk about being able to overcome that adversity. Who have you kind of educated the next Lady J that you see a little bit of yourself in?
Grace Johns probably would have to be. She's a lot similar to me. She'll hang her head over something for the next 4 or 5 plays or even till the next set. And so I try in my best ability, even with some of the juniors, it's kind of, I have to try my best to not let that show that I'm thinking about the same thing, because then it kind of just brings some of the team down with it. So if I show that I'm not as like head over heels over this thing, then, I can help Grace, or I can help some of the juniors like Alina and all them pick their heads up from it and know that it's not a big deal. It's 1 point, fix it the next time. You got the next one. You were right there. It's all supportive stuff kind of, like you don't want to, you want to tell them, like, oh, even after a bad play, hey, you're right there. You just got to get the next one. You're okay. Like, don't worry about it. It all happens to everyone. So I think that's, Grace is probably the most similar to me when it comes to that. So it's nice helping her.
All right, before we let you go, I want to know who is one person that has impacted you the most throughout your career so far?
Probably like my family, like my dad. He's always been there for me after every game. He's always helped me with everything. He's helped me figure out stuff I need to work on and how I can improve it. We've watched film together. We've watched a lot of different college games on what I can do to help the team out, what I can do to help myself out. He's been a very big impact in my life when it comes to sports. So I think that's just been so amazing to have.
Emily, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Sorry, Ann, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's one of those things where it's always been kind of a dream come true. I'm sure you're living it right now, living your own dream. Enjoy the rest of your senior season, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you.
There you go, Aunt. I got you.
Oh, man.
2 pilots, 1 aircraft.
I need to just be like, I'll just take the role of the autopilot from Airplane.
I'll
the
take care of
inflatable
it.
auto.
Don't worry, man. We're still trying to figure out kind of our footing here, as we're both used to leading the side stuff, the controls.
If that's the biggest problem we got, then we're gravy.
What a great interview. That young lady, Emily Foltz, when I saw her the other night and she was absolutely tearing it up. I mean it when I say I couldn't find her anywhere on the floor until big plays happen, and all of a sudden she's around every single one of them.
That's what makes her hard to defend, because Coach Moore and Jackson Milton really find ways to move her around and not just say she's going to hit in this spot every time. They bring her on slides. They run plays for her. And you can do that when you have a really good setter like Paige Garope and a really good defense led by Grace Johns. So when you have those kind of players, you can kind of move your hitters around and trust your setters to get to them wherever they may be.
Grace Johns was all over the floor. And I mean that from a standpoint of literally she was diving all over the floor. She had probably, well, this is going to be an exaggeration. It was like 500 digs and digs that weren't easy. I mean, these were ones she was chasing out into the bleachers, chasing into the bench. That is not an exaggeration. That is literal. That she was all over the floor. I think she was just diving, and she had the pink libero jersey on. So she stood out. Usually, like, it's the opposite color.
Right.
So I think everybody had black jerseys on, if I'm not mistaken, with blue trim and outline. The pink was just like, it was there. Like, you knew she was on the floor, and she was very noticeable, and not just because she was wearing a pink uniform.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely know when Grace Johns is at a volleyball match, because she's one of the players that doesn't care about her body. She will put it in harm's way to get the ball, no matter what it takes. She Captain America is the thing.
Yeah, there were some scary moments for her, but she seemed to have it all under control. And I know that there was a lot of cheering with people with John's jerseys on the back.
I like because when someone gets a big dig, you cheer. It's almost like a because you can't believe that the ball came up, because it was one of those ones that you're expecting it to be a kill, and then you pop it up. So I love hearing the crowd's reaction to a big dig, because one, the play's not over, so you can't cheer completely yet, because you still got to get the ball over the net. And then the other thing is, like, it's this sudden gasp of air because you thought it was going to be a kill and your team was going to lose the point, and then all of a sudden someone pops it up in the air.
I try to, like, the terminology in our world is let it breathe. Mm-hmm. And when stuff like that happens, I'm not trying to overtalk the moment, because I don't know if you caught it. It was one of the football games where they just kind of let things happen, and like intros and stuff like that. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, they just don't talk. They let the natural sound kind of be part of the story. That's what we try to do during our matches and our games. I'm gonna die if I don't drink thing.
For me personally, DJ, that's like the biggest thing that I struggle with when I started volleyball, is feeling like you had to say everything that happened, and it goes so fast, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So then you get behind yourself and you start rushing yourself. But then, like, on those long rallies, nowadays I just let it go. Like, hey, let's go. Call out a name every now and then to say, hey, they got a good dig or whatever. But you let those long rallies breathe, and you let the players tell the story.
I agree with you, and I think that's what you kind of have to do, because especially when it's it's like this. Volleyball, that's what it is. It's click, 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 click. If you're not on it, and sometimes it's very challenging based on where we are set up to be on every single player and know, because the jerseys are getting tighter and tighter and the numbers are getting smaller and smaller, in football and volleyball everywhere. And it's a challenge sometimes to know kind of where people are, especially now that everybody's moving on the volleyball floor. I mean, everybody's rotating. It's incredible.
Jackson Milton's a team that actually they do a shift right before the serve goes up. So they'll be standing in one place, serve goes up in the air, and they'll bloop, stay in rotation. So they'll stay in the right spots, but they'll just shift a little bit so that server can't get a read on where to serve.
Noise? What was that noise?
Bloop. Like a Super Mario bloop.
Is that do they make that noise, or is that just
when I hear it, I think that's not my Super Mario when he hits the little box. Bloop. Bloop, bloop.
That's my Super Mario, because that's usually when I'm dead. I'm dead.
All right, let's take our first break of the day. Pay some bills. When we come back, we're going to get ready for Justin Kosick, the head coach of Springfield girls soccer, fresh off his 100th career victory at the helm of Springfield. We'll talk to him. We also have Bryce Van Horn from Warren JFK Golf coming on a little bit later at 1:30. Come back with us on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside DJ Yoakley. And DJ, we have our power rankings, we have the computer rankings, but now the state polls are starting to come out, the AP state polls, and I think these are kind of fun to look at because, you know, if you're getting recognized by writers across the state, you must be doing something a little bit eye-popping, right? So the football state polls are out, and we'll go over what teams got on these lists as well. In Division II, Fitch is ranked 9th in the state in the AP football poll. D3, Canfield is 2, Cheney 7, Ursuline 16. In D4, Girard is 6, West Branch is 7. In D5, South Range is 4. And then we have 3 in Division 7, as Warren JFK is the one in the poll. Southern is 10, and Lowville is 18 in that AP. I think they go top 25 poll for high school football.
So I talked to Andy yesterday, in case you didn't watch the show, about kind of what these polls mean to coaches. And I know that Andy's not speaking on behalf of all coaches, but I just wanted to ask one of them, like, does it mean anything? Like, is this bulletin board material for you, or is it something that gets you motivated or even care about? And basically, he told me no. Like, in the nicest way possible, he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, I think everybody wants to be on them, but they don't care necessarily
not.
if they're
Right.
not. You know, and some coaches and some players use it as a motivational tactic, and as we call it, bulletin board material. But the reality is most people are just like, it's more for the fans, and it's more for us to have something to talk about and to have those spirited debates as opposed to, you know, just talking about what could be. And that's why I think the polls are so fun. I was, as you know, I was adamantly against them, you know, for the first 5 years of what we did. And then I just went, you know what? We have enough schools that I think we can not bring legitimacy to it, but you know, the guys that are calling the games and the guys that are there every week should have a little bit of insight on who's best. And it just turns into, again, a spirited debate is the best use of the word when it comes to, you know, our conversations internally. And it's fun. It's all for fun. So,
And I think because when you're talking to, I think it goes both ways. Because like you said, when you get on it, you're happy because you're on it, and it's a good accomplishment because you know the AP people around the state know your name, they're voting for you, or whatever. But when you don't get on it, it's almost like, well, okay, so some writer in Columbus doesn't know who we are and didn't put us in the top 25 poll, but they don't even watch us play anyway. So what's the point of being upset about that? So I think the conversation can go like that's why you can get excited about it when you are on, because it's like, oh, cool, some writer in Columbus and Cincinnati and all the writers across the state know who we are and they voted for us. But then when you don't get on it, it's like, so what? Those guys don't even watch us play football. So it's not like it's a confined local poll like our power rankings. It's a statewide Ohio writers poll.
and here's my thing. If you haven't seen a team play, you shouldn't be able to vote for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, or not vote for them, because to me, you have to see it with your own eyes or watch footage or whatever. And people will tell you that they watch film the same way the kids do. And then you know that there's no chance. They can't name one guy or one girl on a team. And it's frustrating because how are you going to keep somebody else? If you are legitimately doing your job and you're doing it successfully, you should have to have background or have someone that has knowledge about that team, you know, impress that upon you. And again, it's not that these are wrong, but you know, we've called out a couple people in the group chat for not knowing what they need to know. Like there was one time in our power rankings that a guy he put in a team that isn't even on YSN.
Right.
And I was like, well, wait a minute. Like if you don't know that they're not part of YSN, you're pretty much done, because that tells me you're not doing your homework to put that team in there anywhere.
And one of the things that I think is funny is like, when you talk about the college poll, it's like they all get this is like when I think of YSN in the future. You can watch any college game you want, and that's how they make the polls. You can actually go and ESPN has all the coverage of anyone that you're going to put in the top 25. Maybe one day YSN will be that platform for the state of Ohio where you can go and watch almost any of the high school football teams and say, I actually did watch them, and I can educatingly talk about whether or not they deserve to be in the AP top 25 in the state of Ohio.
So when we started YSN, I used to review every single game that we did, right? When we had 4 teams, 8 teams,
right?
I was able to, I had that much time that I was able to go and listen to all the games, play them back. So that way, if there was issues or we can make things better, with 65 teams, it's impossible. Like I could listen to every single one of them, and it would take me the entire maybe 2 weeks, you know. And then you add in volleyball, and Quinn told me that we should have. I'm gonna double check this. Hang on. What's the number we could have? He's not paying attention. I think he said 200. I think he said 200 volleyball games by the end of the year. So being that we had
just under 100 last year, right?
Yeah. If we have 200 volleyball games this year, that's got to make you a proud young man, because you are the leader of the pack when it comes to the girls' sports here on YSN.
Yeah, and it's not just volleyball. I mean, we've been doing soccer a lot more this year. And this Saturday, I think you'll talk about it a little bit more, maybe in the power hour or maybe later on the show. But we're gonna have cross country, which I think is the first time we've ever put cross country on YSN, if I'm not mistaken.
Please God, just help us out just a little bit. It's all we're looking for.
But
I have no idea.
440 and Goal Guys are also doing boxing, which I think is the first boxing on YSN, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we have boxing coming up, and they're going to do it. This is something that we've wanted to do for a long time, but at the end of the day, I think it's a youth event, if I'm not mistaken. This young man's the number one in the world. I want to say at least the country, might be the world, and I think he's 80 pounds, something like that. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. The 440 and Gold Boys are real excited about it. So boxing and what you don't happen to know the date on that? Because I'm blanking right now. Is it Saturday? I think it's Saturday. But the cross country thing is Saturday, 100%. And I think we have guys at work would be willing to do Salem cross country. Okay. Hey, if it helps the kids, it helps the programs. We're in, Amo.
And I think the Spartan Invitational is like one of the biggest ones in the country as far as cross country meets. So, I mean, it's a great first one to do it in because you're going to have a lot of people there.
Oh, gosh. I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart. I love cross country. I know nothing about it. So Richie, myself, and Quinn are going to be the guys that are out there. And we're just flying by the seat of our pants. And we're just going to try to just, again, love on every single runner we can. We don't know how this is going to go. Obviously, cross country is a mobile sport. So we're going to have 3 different cameras set up. One at the start-finish line. That's where I'll be. Richie will be by the baseball field. And then Quinn will be by the food, which he's super excited about. But we'll be there, and we're going to try to track them across this journey and across the race while keeping it interesting. So I make no promises whatsoever about what's going to happen. I just know that typically when we're in these situations, we make them fun more than anything. And, we're trying to do it for the right reasons. And kudos to Donnie Riccatelli for setting all of this up, because this is a dream of his, is to constantly try to push us into where we're uncomfortable and try to make the best out of a situation which has never gotten any love from any media. I mean, there's papers that don't cover cross country, which I think is absolutely ludicrous, because all you got to do is print the results, and you've got instant content for you. But I digress. If nobody else is going to do it, guess what? We're going to step up and do it. And
when I saw Donnie's name on the schedule, I just pictured him in like a go-kart following the runners with a camera, and that's how we're going to track people. Because he's just the kind of guy that would definitely do that if we asked him to. He's a goofball.
And the things are, we're doing this for a couple different reasons. Mobile sports have been a super challenge for us because we're based on one spot, because there's electricity, there's this, there's that, the other thing, the Wi-Fi, all that stuff. If this works, not only does it open the door for cross country, but it opens the door for golf. It opens the door for, all these mobile sports. Track, people are telling me track, and I'm still sitting there like not so much, because track is, especially actual track events, they go around in a circle, and we're typically based on one camera operation. And I'm telling you, if you have, I've been there, I've done it. I've done a middle school track meet early on. It will make you sick, because the camera just keeps going left and right and left and right. So it's one of those things, like, it'll open the door for new possibilities for YSN. And I think Donnie's done a great job of challenging me at every turn of what can we do? How can we make this better? How can we make this, more optimized for kids and programs and every kid that does sports. And here's just another groundbreaking event, and we're excited to do it. And, I think it's 9 to 10. Like, there's 2 races. There's 9 to 9:30, and then there's a break till like noon. So it's going to be in segments as opposed to just straight 6-8 hours of coverage. But a total, I think we're going to do a little bit over 3 hours of it. So 6 races.
And if you think that statement on track is a cop out, watch the Olympic track meets and how they shoot that. They never let the camera on the wide angle go back and forth. Every time they make a turn, they cut to a closer angle. That way their broadcast isn't doing this.
Like, I watched it back, and I wanted to throw up, because I'm like, well, it's cool. I know what I'm doing from that standpoint. What happens if you have somebody that's lapped?
Right.
Because they don't tell you. It just happens. And then I cut off I thought we were done. Click off, we're done. And somebody's like, they still got 3 more laps. I was like, oh no. It's terrible. I'm a terrible person. I'm a terrible human being. sorry for that person that got lapped. Like, it wasn't that you felt bad enough. Now you didn't finish on the camera.
There's a reason in sports broadcasting why sports that are go like this fast. The broadcast is, if you watch the volleyball broadcast, they're up in the, they don't have to move side to side. Tennis is behind the action, so you don't have to move side to side. You want to stay away from this. I'm just telling from a guy that went to a lot of sports broadcasting classes. This isn't fun to watch.
Ooh, look at you dropping that. I went to a lot of sports broadcasting
I
classes.
actually didn't, because they actually made a sports broadcasting track like my senior year. So I only got to take like 2 or 3 classes as electives. I wasn't going to change my major one year away from graduating.
So did you just lie to me on the air?
I did. I a lot is a relative term. I took 3.
When in the world is a lot ever associated with the number 3?
Oh man, maybe 4. No, 3. It was 3. One
Like
was with
murders.
one was with a guy that produces for ESPN, and it was like the video production class where
Did you
we
just
learned.
name drop another person?
Yeah.
Jeez,
And
oh
then
man.
one was with a guy that's in a production truck, so he's like a freelance production truck guy.
Hi everyone, my name is Anthony Hartwig. I've taken 3 sports broadcasting classes, and one of them with a guy from ESPN.
One was, I think, scheduling. So it was like how they program and advertise their broadcast schedule. So
you just big leagued me. You big leagued me on my own show, Anthony.
I'm sure you can do it to me a lot more than I could do it to you.
I would never.
We have pretty soon in the can. We have Justin Kosek coming up. It's going to be about 4 minutes till he pops on.
Well, I'll tell you what. Hey, this gives us a great opportunity, if you don't mind, to do Brian Tolnar's segment, which I
absolutely
completely biffed on yesterday. Here we go.
Hello everyone, Brian Tolnar from Mill Creek Metro Parks, and welcome to this week's YSN Golf Tip of the Week. Today we're on the basic series. We're going to talk about how to hit an iron shot properly. So what you see here is 2 items of alignment. A lot of the things that we talked about early on when we talked about where our feet, knees, hips, and shoulders were supposed to be from an alignment perspective. We have our target line and we have our stance line. And you also notice that there's a golf tee laying here. In order to hit a good iron shot properly, the first contact is going to be with the golf ball and then the divot. So a divot is going to be just ahead of where the golf ball is. To mark that, we're going to have that golf tee there for the shot, and you're going to notice where the divot starts. It'll start right about here, and it'll finish up slightly ahead of where the golf ball's at. Our first connection is always going to be with the golf ball. We want to make nice and clean contact. And for intents and purposes, we're on a nice lie here. We've got a good fairway type lie to where the ball's sitting up nicely, and we're going to use that as our shot pattern. So we've got our feet, knees, hips, and shoulders. I've got my ball position in the center with my 7-iron here. I'm going to really just work on weight distribution and balance, and I want to make sure that I make good clean contact with the back of that golf ball first, launching it up into the air, and then making our divot slightly ahead of it. If you make proper contact, you'll see a shot very similar to this. It was a well-struck shot. Golf ball was hit first. You notice where the divot starts in relationship to where we had that tee, and you'll notice where the divot finishes, well ahead of where the golf ball is. Very important to make that first contact, the golf ball hitting downward to get the golf ball up, and making sure that that divot is directly ahead of the golf ball. Another thing that you'll notice if you're from behind is that divot is perfectly parallel to where our feet and our target line were. So this is dead on target to where I'm trying to go. It's a great way to gauge if you're hitting shots and your club path is on the right plane, is to make sure that that divot is going down towards the target. We don't want it going left, or we don't want it going right. So for more tips like this and hitting a well-purposed iron shot off a very good lie, contact is the first part of the golf ball, divot is second, good balance, good finish, and if you do that, you're going to successfully hit a lot of good iron shots. For more tips like this and many more, contact us at YSN Live or Mill Creek Metro Parks, millcreekmetroparks.org, 330-740-7112.
Now we can remove that. Turn your mic on, Ant.
Did not realize I muted myself at all.
There you go.
Those were always fun to watch, and they were fun to shoot down at Mill Creek. And Brian Tolnar, I feel like every time he does a demo shot, it's perfect, and it's on the first take.
Yeah, you're not. He's one take Tolnar every single time, and everything is perfect. And I go out and try to act like golf's that easy, and completely fall flat on my face. So good for him.
Someone that does not have to make it look doesn't make it look hard, makes it look easy, is Springfield girls soccer coach Justin Kosick, who is fresh off his 100th career win at the helm of the Springfield girls soccer program, which has been one of the more dominant programs in the area over the last 3 years specifically, but since he took over. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today, and once again, congratulations on your 100th career win.
Thanks, guys. Anytime I can make this happen, I'll always come on with you.
You've been a good friend of the show, and we thank you for that. So the first thing I want to ask you is, when you look at 100 and you reflect on your career and all the great players that you've been able to coach, what kind of things come to mind, and how proud are you, not just of this team this year, but the program that you've been able to build over the years and all the players that have been a part of the 100 wins that you have?
It's so weird just because, I grew up and graduated from Springfield. We didn't have soccer out there, boys or girls. It wasn't a thing. And to be a part of the program now and to have built it like we have, and I say we because it has taken a lot of people to do what we've done. I've had parent help that is just phenomenal. I'm on my 5th assistant coach now, maybe, and they've all left in good terms, and they've all been just fantastic to work with. The kids that have come through the program, I've been blessed with a lot of club kids, but I've also been blessed with just flat out athletes that weren't really soccer players, and we turned them into soccer players. So by the time they graduated, they knew what they were doing. And that 4th year, they become the leaders, and they become the hardworking kids that you want to be the head of the program. The middle school group that we have going right now, we just started this year. I told you guys in the summer. That's probably one of my biggest things that I think we've done. I always said, and I'm saying this without any idea of saying that I'm even thinking about not coaching anytime soon, but I've always said that when I am done, I want to leave this program so the next person can come right in and it just rolls right over to them. And I felt like the middle school thing is what we were missing, because our travel program out here it was non-existent. So to get the rec program going, and now to have the middle school to feed into the high school, it's just like that's probably one of my proudest things that I've done with them.
I think it's very, very cool what you've done out there, and you deserve a lot of credit. And I know coaches are very humble, and they pass along to their assistants and all the people that have kind of put their hand in the pile. But Justin, from a standpoint of, this 100-win mark, has it snuck up on you? Did you know it was coming? Who kind of told you about it? Or is that something that you keep your eye on?
It was in the back of my head after my 4th year. We went to the district awards banquet basically at the end of the season that Scott from Niles runs, and Phil and everybody helps out with it, and they do a great job at the end of the year. But I was there, I think it was the end of my 4th year, and forgive me because her name's forgetting me right now, but the head coach from Beaver Local hit her 100th win that year. So it was either my 4th or 5th year, and she got announced and everything, and I started looking, and I started adding stuff up, and I was like, that's a pretty cool goal to have. So I just didn't even know where I was at with win-wise. So after that, I went home and I went through the previous seasons, and I started counting stuff up, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to stick around that long, but we kind of flipped things around, and we went from my first 2 years, I won 5 games combined. We had 2 wins my first year, 3 wins my second year. And then all of a sudden it flipped to 12. And it's been 12, 15. I think we had 1 year at 10, and everything else has been 12 to 16 wins a year. And it just became doable. So halfway through last year, I thought, maybe not halfway through, but at the beginning of last year, I thought I have a chance to do this if we made a decent run. And we got eliminated a little bit earlier than we wanted to. So I was 5 short, but I knew going into this year that it was right there. And the girls actually knew, and they tried to make it one of our team goals. And kind of like you said, we like to deflect things. And I tried to push them away. Like my 100th win can't be your team goal. Like we need to look beyond that. But they did keep it in the back of their heads. And even though I wouldn't let them write that down as a key team goal, I think that they all kind of took it upon themselves to help me get there.
We saw they got you with the Gatorade bath too.
They
So
did.
was that your first Gatorade bath? How did it feel? What was it like?
That was my first one. I saw it coming at the last second. I was able to turn around and cover my head from the ice, but then they dumped me. It was cold. It was really cold. I guess our trainer had it open and she was trying to pull some ice out, but didn't get a lot of it out. So we took a bunch of pictures. I hung out with a bunch of parents and family after the game. And then I came home to change before we went out for a celebratory dinner. And I got into my bathroom and I took my pullover off. And all I heard was ping, 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 ping. Ice cubes were flying everywhere. It had been a good 45 minutes since they dumped me.
There's some good ice cubes.
Yeah, it was pretty solid.
You talked about that flip between winning a couple games a season to winning, double digits each year. When you have a chance, and I don't know if you've ever had a chance to do this, when you look back at that, what went into that, from a standpoint of understanding, action, reaction, pros and negatives, all that stuff. What do you think was the biggest table turner in that program when you started winning double-digit games every year?
I had been coaching my daughter's travel team at the time, and I want to say they were at that point in like maybe 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, the combined ages that we had. And I came into the high school program thinking, all right, like I'm going to build on that, and we're going to do these drills and all this stuff. And this is no knock on any of the girls. I was able to do more stuff with the travel team of the younger ages than I was with the high school girls. And I realized maybe halfway through that first year and then into the second year, they didn't know what I was talking about. Like I'm throwing out these terms and using language that I might as well have been speaking. Throw in some distant country you've never heard of before, and I might as well have been speaking that language because they had no idea what was coming out of my mouth. So a lot of the players from those 2 years, they joked to me because they hated me at the time because I brought in literally a vocab sheet. And I said, all right, here's this term that I use, and here's what it means. And here's this term. And we went over it for like a week. And they look back now, and I've heard from a lot of them. A couple of them have been my assistant coaches the last couple of years. And they tell me, like, that really helped. We didn't know what you meant when you said this. And that kind of helped turn the corner. And then we did so many skill type drills those first 3 years that by the time that my first year coaching, we had 16 seniors. By the time they were seniors, or we had 16 freshmen. By the time 4 years later they were seniors, we didn't have to worry about the skills anymore. They had the skills. It was now the tactical part of the game, and it became a lot more fun. And that's when I realized we're missing the middle school thing, because when all these freshmen keep getting up to me, we have to keep redoing all the skills. So now that we have the middle school program, they're learning the skills. They're learning the drills to do. They're learning the techniques. And then when they get to me, it's just fun. We learn the tactical part of the game. We learn the movement. We learn the conversations. And I think that's what really flipped it the most.
Who was the first former player that reached out to you last night after your 100th win and gave you a good pat on the back and told you what it meant to them to see you have that accomplishment?
Oh, I will look it up for you right now because I don't know who beat who here. My first former player was Haley Lamorticella. She was one of those 16 freshmen. You guys know them. Mm-hmm. She was a senior the year that we won our first district. She was one of my outside mids. That girl would run through a wall for me if I asked her to. I mean, the work ethic and everything that she did was just like, she kind of set the tone for how you work, but you don't talk about how you work. You just put in the work.
So when you're looking at the opportunity for 200, right? And I don't want to get ahead of myself here because you weren't even sure you get to 100. But when you think about that, I mean, does it seem near or far because your program is astounding from what it was?
DJ, I don't want to rule it out. I mean, I honestly, and I know this is easy to say, but I mean, like I said, I'm a Springfield kid. I lived out there my whole life. I graduated from there. My kids went there. My son's still playing football there. I can't see doing this anywhere else. I just can't. At least at the high school level. I absolutely can't see doing it anywhere else. So as long as it stays fun, I mean, if I'm looking at another 8.5 to 9 years, I don't know. But if we can keep the 12 to 15 a year, and I'm looking at another 6 years, 7 years, maybe.
See?
But to do this double the length that I'm already in it, I don't know. Once both of my kids are graduated, and I don't know.
Well played, Justin.
Let's talk about this team for a little bit before we let you go, and what you've seen out of them so far this year. You're off to another good start. I know there's a couple of new faces that have had to step up this year for you guys. What have you seen from the girls this year? What are you proud of, and what kind of things do you have looking forward to yourselves and the team goals that you have set for the rest of the season?
I'm really proud of the first part of the season. I mean, we played 6 of the 7 games we started with were some of the hardest games we've had in my 9 years of coaching. I mean, we had Salem, we had South Range, we had Waterloo, we had Champion, United, forgetting somebody in there, Crestview's in there. It was a really tough start to the season, and 3 of our 4 scrimmages got canceled. So I felt like we were 3 or 4 games into the season before we even knew what we had compared to what we usually do during regular seasons or what we would normally do with a scrimmage type of season. So we were still, I mean, up until 2 weeks ago, we were still moving girls in and out of different positions, just trying to see who fit where and who played best with who, and just seeing who could step up in different positions. And I think that we finally settled in on what we can grow on and what we can build on for the rest of the season. But to get through those first 7 games at a 5-2-2 record, I hate ties. I think ties are disgusting. I don't think they should take place in high school or college soccer. You can go straight to PKs and determine a winner one way or you don't have to do overtime. But either way, it's 5-2-2. I think that one of our biggest things that has kept us in some games and helped us win a couple of tough games, Caitlin Capelli has come to a different level this year as my keeper. She's a 3rd-year starter. She's a 4th-year player on the team. And I told you guys in the summer, she fully bought in. Like, she's been there since day one this year, and that hasn't happened in the past. But she was not necessarily voted the captain, but I would tell you hands down, she's one of the best leaders I have on the team. She shows up. She works hard. She talks to the girls in the right positive way when they're on the field. She helps the communication go. And she is making some saves that she's phenomenal. She's really having a great year. When a referee comes up to you after a game, I mean, 5 of my 7 games, the referees have come up to us afterwards and shake my hand and said, you have one hell of a keeper. So just keep her going with what you have. And we do. And we've loaded up the defense in front of her a little bit, and she didn't really need it, but we wanted to take some pressure off of her. But she's stepping up. And I think that's been a key part to our first early part of the season success.
Now that you're officially one of the dons of the area in soccer, what would you give yourself as advice when you were first starting out as a soccer coach? Now that you got that hundo underneath your belt.
Oh man. When Kylie first started playing, when she was in kindergarten or 1st and 2nd grade, I would not have been that dad who said, no, I mean, what are you talking about? You can't use your hands. That's a stupid sport. That was me. And I was always that guy who wasn't going to coach the next age group because I didn't know enough. And then they would tell me, all right, then she's going to be on this person's team. And I would say, wow, I know more than they do. I'll coach that. And the next age group came and the same thing happened. Then it was like, hey, do you want to coach the travel team? And no, I can't do that. And then I would watch it and I'd say, I mean, I teach phys ed for a living. I think I can figure this out. I would try it. So I would I guess I would be a little more open-minded right from the get-go. Once she hit like 4th grade and I knew she was all in and we started sending her to club, like she went to TCSC first with Mofard, and I went to every practice I could possibly go to. And I asked him as much as I could to be on the field during games or the sideline during games and practices, just to watch the drills and listen to what he's saying and learn what I could. And then she switched to Greg Mitchell at SVA, and I got even more of like I said, the tactical and the technical stuff from him. But I really would just have been more open-minded at the beginning. And as far as the high school stuff goes, I would have came in probably with a little more realistic expectations. I thought you could come in as a new coach and flip a couple of positions from girls and you just win 10 games. And you really got to know how to mix and match different kids in different positions and get through to them and get them going at practice. You don't have to do as much at games.
All right, I got to ask you one last question from my side. As a dad who is My son is on soccer for the first time ever as a 4-year-old. What do I have to expect on every Sunday for the next 10 Sundays or whatever?
That you are probably, other than watching your own kid play and getting the joy out of it, you're going to hate every second of it. It is 8 to 10 kids on the field with a ball, and you can't see the ball because they're all chasing it around everywhere they go. And you get that one kid who says, I don't like crowds. I'm going to go stand over here. And they score all the goals because the ball always pops out to them.
I love it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, not a problem.
Coach, also, thank you so much for the time. We want to congratulate you again on 100 career wins. We're so happy for you. You always give us the time, and we thank you again for that. We look forward to talking to you again real soon as the season goes on.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You got it, man. Be well.
Man, that guy is one of my favorites. I'll tell you.
Why is there always this awkward pause, Ant, after we get rid of a guest?
I don't know. We pop on for some reason. It pops us on this one, so I try to get us back to this one. Nope, not that one. I try to get us back to this one. It's OCD. I gotta have us on this window. I want to get the sponsors up on the screen.
But they're on 24/7 constantly. Why? Yeah, why aren't they? We have the other sponsors. Where are they at? I have no idea. Neither one of us have it on today. Uh-oh. We'll have to build it in post.
Yeah,
but Coach, I mean,
is that
there we go.
I fix it.
For Coach to take time out, because here's the thing: Z starts on Sunday with soccer. I kind of know what to expect, but as two parents that didn't play soccer at any high level, like I stopped when I was in like 4th grade. To have him just confirm what my wildest ambitions were of soccer coming up in less than 72 hours, I'm gonna need like medicated. I'm gonna need heavily medicated for this game. I'm not even the coach. I refused to be the coach. Like I'm the t-ball coach, and I know baseball enough that I played in college, and I can get you by in t-ball. But soccer, you're on your own, man. Because all I'm telling Z is kick it. Just kick it. Just go.
I love his origin story. Like he thought that sport was stupid, and then all of a sudden he's like, I know more about that.
And now he's got 100 wins.
Than that guy.
Now he's got 100 wins for a guy that was like, oh, this sport's dumb. You can't use your hands. I love it.
One of the things that I love most about him, though, in all seriousness, joking aside, he is a Springfield guy through and through. And I love that he said he can't picture doing it anywhere else because he went to Springfield and his kids went to Springfield. And he is just one of the guys that he is in that community for not for the wins, but for the school, for the system, and for the community that he loves. So that's the coaches that I love to see. The guys that are in the school system or alumni of the school system that just do it because they have this passion for growing the community and the school system. And there's nothing better than that in the high school coaching realm.
No, I think you take it a little bit more personal when you graduated from a place. At least I have that thought in the back of my head. Like, when I coached at East Palestine, there was a little bit more in it. Wins and losses, you want to represent your school. The one that you graduated from, the one you walked across the stage in, and there's a little bit of pride that you try to pass along to this younger generation that is still in. And for a lot of us, we don't get that sense of pride until you walk away. It's the same way that, your mom and dad are never right until you go away to college or you go away on your own. And all of a sudden, you get life thrown at you and you go, oh, okay, now I get it. So, it's crazy. And to be able to coach and I would assume that he's the all-time winningest coach at Springfield in soccer because the program was where it was.
Right.
So, to have his name etched in the record books, that's phenomenal. Good for him.
Got the Gatorade bath to prove it.
Now, was it Gatorade or was it water?
I couldn't tell from the video. It was in the Gatorade bucket, so I assumed it, but they could put anything in there, to be honest. So it could have been water with ice.
I'm gonna guess water. 99%. As a matter of fact, the first time I ever had it where it wasn't water was in Florida State, and it was Powerade, which, by the way, Powerade, the official sponsor of your sports network. But yeah, I should have asked that question. That's on me. That's bad journalism right there. What was in it? Water.
I love how one of the weird bets during the Super Bowl is what color of Gatorade will they get doused? Will the winner get doused in? Because it
See,
seems
there
like
it
it's
is.
different every year.
He nailed it. It was freezing cold water. I knew it. Freezing cold water. So, yeah, like I'm always nervous because when coaches, imagine if this was 2 months from now, you know what I mean? And they're in the state championship and he gets like, it's freezing cold in Ohio.
Right.
He's
And
going to
don't
get
forget,
sick.
if you slip the bucket, you can hit him in the head of the bucket, which probably wouldn't feel too good. And those ice cubes are hard, and you pour them on the head, that can kind of get you hurt too.
You are like dark, man.
I'm just saying, like I every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I can see ways this can go wrong, and I've never seen it go wrong. I'm sure it has before somewhere, but like I'm always amazed that it always kind of either they get it, either they miss him, but I've never seen someone like slip and hit him with the bucket or ice cube. You know, it's like.
Oh yeah, they slip, hit him with the bucket. There's been coaches and players that have had concussions from the Gatorade bath because they go straight at him and they don't because when you're doing it, you don't know where to stop. You go and then all of a sudden it gets poured on because think about the transfer of weight from having a probably 50 pounds to 0, and you hit the coach in the head and you see the coaches go like.
Ouch.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, and especially when you get hit. Remember that I forget what it was years ago, the ice bucket challenge.
Oh yeah.
And people don't realize when you get a bucket of ice poured on you, no matter if you got clothes on or not, it's almost worse if you have clothes on because now your clothes are freezing cold.
Right.
And now you're on because, and again. This might be the dad coming out of it. Somebody's going to get sick. Right. And in today's era, again, I love the Gatorade bath, but in today's era, if you get sick, people are going to look at you different and then you're going to have to go get COVID test and, like it's crazy.
You got COVID from a Gatorade bath. Who knew?
He does not have COVID. Let's not start that.
That would be a very cruel twist of fate. If you got a Gatorade bath to celebrate like a really monumentous moment or a league championship or a district championship, and then you got sick and you couldn't coach or you couldn't even play if it's a player. You couldn't coach the next round because you're sick.
I like the cups, right? They carry around the cups of water and they dump the cups on you. Like I'm kind of cool with that. Like because nobody's gonna get real hurt from a Daisy or Dixie cup, whatever it is, and you can avoid it a little bit. But a giant Gatorade thing coming at your head.
For some reason, South Range softball has the tradition of chasing around Coach Rose with cake. They try to get him cake in the face. So, district championships, you see the girls bring out a cake and they're chasing them around the softball field.
Where do they get a cake?
I guess one of the moms makes it. I don't know. They're chasing them around. Maybe it's cupcakes, but it's either cupcakes or a cake, and they're always chasing him around trying to get cake on his face.
The Gatorade I get and the water I get because it's like readily available because you need it and the nutrients and to re-energize your body. Where the hell did we get cake? I would be first off as a former chubby kid. I'm kind of mad that people would be wasting
cake.
And I know DeRose, and he's probably upset about it. And he's not fast, so if his kids can't catch up to him, I've got a couple of questions as to why not Spanky.
I've never seen him escape it. So,
well, first off, he's not going to run away from cake. I don't care what he says. He can fool a lot of people. He's not fooling me. Jeff DeRose would never run away from cake, so he can pretend as much as he wants to. But my guy is icing and all. Just I guarantee you, if you had slow-mo pictures of it and somebody's stuffing that cake in his face, his mouth's open, like ready to go for it. He's here for all of it.
And he's sitting there like doing tastes pretty good.
Chocolate.
Oh man, fun times. We're gonna take our next break, pay some more bills. When we come back on Running Point, we'll get ready for our golf interview with Bryce Van Horn of Warren JFK, who just won the Trumbull County Invitational on Tuesday. He was first. His team was first. We're going to talk to him about that moment and more on Running Point next. Brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Locally owned and operated, Sheely's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Sheely's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring golf instruction by PGA professionals, a state-of-the-art practice range, a PGA of America recognized pro shop, kids programs, and a relaxing grill room for a memorable golf experience. For more information or to schedule a tee time, visit millcreekmetroparks.org.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance or visit us on the web. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com.
Going from mindful to mindful sometimes requires a helping, healing hand. Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness offers a continuum of mental health and wellness care. At Insight, we're changing the way you receive counseling and wellness services with experienced licensed clinicians and expertly trained wellness staff. With 4 locations in Mahoning and Columbiana County, along with telehealth services, Insight offers clients quick access to care when they need it. Transform your mental health and wellness at Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. You're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside DJ Oakley as we venture further into this Thursday episode. And DJ, when you look at there is a football matchup tonight, by the way. Edison will be playing Steubenville Central Catholic.
Not on YSN.
You look at the matchups this week. What kind of things do you look forward to? I know you're going to be talking on primetime tonight about all the matchups. What are some of the games that really stick out to you? I know there's one that's obvious in Canfield Cheney. Are there any other ones outside of that you're sneakily trying to keep on people's radar?
Yeah, so naturally the one that everybody's talking about, and let's real quick, we won't have the game tonight at Edison and Central Catholic, Steubenville Central Catholic, because it is the WTOV game of the week. So there's not enough room in the press box. Just wanted to clarify that for everybody out there is, we should have football on tonight, but unfortunately, due to space constraints, we do not. But, it's one of those things, Anthony. Canfield Cheney is a game that everybody's going to have their eyes on. I like the idea of seeing a Chagrin Falls versus Orange at Orange. I think it's going to be a great matchup, one that people aren't really accustomed to. Gerard Lakeview is going to be a battle when you think about that, because is Gerard going to find a trap game? Can Lakeview keep things rolling? And, Niles Jefferson. Niles, and people are really high on Jefferson right now. They just came up short against Gerard. Will people be able to, will Jefferson be able to overcome Niles and keep their NE8 push kind of going, as everybody's kind of chasing South Range right now? And of course, Louisville and Jackson Milton. That's a battle of 4-0 teams that are going back and forth. So there's a great number of games on the network this week, and I'm excited to have everybody see them.
Just a little sneak peek of what you're going to be talking about on the primetime tonight. So what we have next is we have Bryce Van Horn from Warren JFK Golf, who is the newest Trumbull County Invitational winner. He won on Tuesday. The team won as well, as the boys finished first. He finished first. Bryce, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
When you talk about this win on Tuesday, winning the Trumbull County Invitational and the great golf season you've put together, kind of a whirlwind. What's it been like? What do you think has been working so well for you out on the golf course this year? And what's the success feel like?
It just feels great. I mean, especially after this one, heading into like sectionals and districts, it just feels great.
Bryce, from a standpoint of when did you learn the game? Who taught you the game to get you where you're at right now to be standing so tall?
Definitely my grandpa and my swing coach, Joe Allen. He's over at Avalon. He's helped me throughout the whole way, and he knows my swing a lot. And my grandpa, he also got me into golf. I've been playing for about 5 years, and he's the one who really got me into it.
What's in the bag? What's in the bag? Sorry, I got to ask because I'm swinging TaylorMade or Callaway. See, I almost got myself in trouble there. What are you swinging?
I have TaylorMade woods, and I have Mizuno irons.
There you go.
What do you think is the thing that you've improved on most this year when you look at your growth as a golfer throughout your high school career?
It's definitely my putting and all of my mental ability, because as a freshman, it was all mental for me. If I had one bad shot, I feel like my round was over. Now I feel like I could go through my routine over and over and just stay confident.
All right, you've improved the most on your putting. What is the game that you hang your hat on? Because we're looking for a fourth for our scrambles.
Yeah, it's definitely my putting. It's probably the best part of my game because it could just save me when I'm down and build me up.
When you look at it in your practice schedule and the things that you work on to prepare yourself for your meets, what do you practice the most, and how do you prepare? What's your routine to go through when you're practicing?
It's definitely practicing putting, because in high school we played 2 to 3 different courses a week, and all the greens are different speeds and whatnot. So you definitely have to get the green speeds down before you go play. And the days before that, you also have to go play and hit the driving range and stuff.
All right, man. Everybody's got that one club in their bag that they know they're in trouble when they've got to use it. What's the club that when you're looking at your bag, you're like, oh no, not this one?
It's probably my long irons. I feel like I'm just not consistent with them, but I mean, I could always improve on them. So.
We know people also fall in love with the drive. So what's your driver like? How much do you like driving? And what's your what's your game plan? Are you more of an aggressive driver, or do you try to play it conservative?
It's definitely more aggressive, especially if I know the course. I'd rather go at flags and hit driver a lot, especially now. I'm more confident with it.
When did you get to be that aggressive? Because I'm sitting here and my game's not good to begin with, right? But I'm sitting there, I'm like, I can hit this golf ball through those trees, over that little lake, and be on the green. And then I hit it 7 feet. So when did you realize that you can be aggressive and really start knocking some nice shots down?
It was definitely this summer, because I mean, I've just been hitting it a lot straighter now. And I've been realizing that even if I don't hit fairways, then I could still have that one shot that I could always use to recover. So, yeah.
When you're talking about this golf team, and I know golf is an individual sport and you have to worry about your own scores while you're out there, but you're also focused on your team goals and the team score as well. What makes you so close with your teammates, and what has it been like to grow with them and to go through this journey with a couple of guys that share the same goals as you do?
It's been great. I mean, we just got 4 freshmen who are all big improvements to the team. I mean, last year, I mean, no one was talking about our team, or our school wasn't even like real focused on golf. But now this year, we've just been really good. I mean, we've had 4 freshmen. They're in our top 5 now, and they've just been a huge improvement. And we've all came closer this summer playing golf, and because our home course is Trumbull, so we've all played there with each other.
I was just going to ask you, where's your favorite course?
Yeah, it's got to be Trumbull. I mean, I've played there for the past 5 years, and that's the course I just grew up on.
What about one course that you haven't gotten to play on yet that this is kind of like the dream course or the course that you would love to be able to play on?
It's probably I'd go with the Lake Club. I mean, I've heard all good things about it. I've just never played there.
Wait, so you've never played the Lake Club and you want
No.
to? Oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna get you hooked up, Bryce. Don't you worry about that. We know some guys.
What about the toughest course that you've played on?
Toughest. It was probably down in South Carolina. I played at TPC Myrtle Beach, and it's just like great.
So you want that's high praise for the Lake Club because you played TPC. I like it. Have you ever had a hole-in-one in your life?
No, I've hit the flag twice. I've just never had one.
What is that moment going to be like for you when you? Because I have no doubt you're going to do it when you do it.
It would be great. I mean, both times I hit the flag, my heart was racing once I saw it going at the flag. So I could only imagine if I hole one out.
Par 3s, I'm guessing.
Yeah, yeah.
When you look at the goals that you have for the rest of the season and some of the things that you think you have to do to really have a good showing at sectionals, what are you focused on the last couple of weeks in the golf season, and what's the one part of your game that you want to really focus on as you go into sectionals?
I really want to keep hitting the driver and just focus on that, because I feel like getting the ball in play is it's just how you score. And if we do that at sectionals, then I feel like we have a good shot of making it to districts if we could just produce pretty solid numbers and just keep the ball in play.
Bryce, are you an old school guy with golf etiquette? Do you like music on the course or no?
No, not really. I normally don't play music, but yeah.
What do you do to kind of get yourself in the right mindset before a match? We've heard players that like this complete silence. We've heard some players like to kind of go through their reps. What do you do to get yourself in the right mindset before a match?
Yeah, I normally just like silence. I mean, I like talking to a lot of people because it kind of calms the nerves too. So just keeping the nerves down is all it takes, really.
Bryce, I got to ask you, because I ask every single Kennedy kid, what is it like to represent the K when you go out on the course?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I know that the school and all my friends have my back, and I know that they'll be cheering for us. And even like our school is a small school, so it's just great knowing that every kid, will be cheering for you and rooting for you. So, yeah.
When we get you off the golf course, what are some of your other hobbies and some of the things that you do with your free time?
I study a good bit, but yeah, mainly homework and stuff, because I play golf normally 5 times a week. So, yeah.
All right, dude, we're on the turn. What are you ordering at the clubhouse? What's the go-to for you?
It's normally just a hot dog and probably a Sprite or something.
Fair enough.
What about your favorite meal in general? Like, who cooks the best meals in your family, and what's the best meal that they cook?
It's probably my mom. She cooks like really good chicken, so probably her.
Last question I have for you. Let's talk about your role models, man, on and off the course. You know, whose game do you kind of most are attracted to, I guess? Who do you model yourself after on the course, and who's been there for you off the course?
I really like Colin Morikawa. He's I just like how he plays and how he hits his irons and stuff. But off the course, probably my grandpa and my family. I mean, my parents. they really just help me and bring me up when I'm down. So, yeah.
All right, my last question for you, since you're a junior and you said you do study so much and your education is so important to you, have you thought about what kind of things you want to do as a career, what kind of path you want to make for yourself after high school, and what are some of those things that come to your mind?
I feel like I want to be an accountant right now. I mean, I really like math, and I just feel like that would bring me to the best decision, being an accountant.
Bryce, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Congratulations on winning that Trumbull Invitational this week. We know you're going to do a lot of more great things as the season goes on. We wish you the best of luck, and we can't wait to talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Bryce. There he goes, man.
JFK athletes, they're their own breed, and every time we get one, they're so well spoken. They have such a high character, and it seems to be a theme every time we get someone from JFK on.
Well, it's just nice, because we've been huge supporters of JFK and vice versa since we started our relationship. I want to say 4 years ago. And you're right, Ant. Like, these kids just keep pumping them out, and he said it best. He goes, not a whole lot of people kind of took notice of us until this year, and now the JFK community, who was always supportive of every one of their programs and their student athletes and their students in general, is taking notice and celebrating this golf team, which has been frontline this year.
Yeah, I'll tell you, not only did he win as the medalist of the Trumbull Invitational, his teammate was second and their team won overall. So the JFK golf program is definitely one of the best in the area when you talk about small school golf programs.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of great golfers in the area. Mm-hmm. Nate Kelly is one. Our own Michael McKenzie has medaled a few times this year. So I love seeing these kids that are on the links being able to be on our shows and be able to be profiled, because golf deserves that attention too. Just like we talked about cross country, golf's another sport that has been overlooked for so long that it's time to shine a light on it.
What I like about it, I just learned this last night talking to one of the parents. I don't know if this is the same thing in every conference, but at least in the AAC for golf, when you have postseason awards, Player of the Year, First Team All AAC, it's completely based on the point system that you make every time you go on an AAC match. You get 10 if you finish first, 9, 10, 9, 8, and so on. And it's completely just based on your point total. If you have the most points at the end of the season, you're the Player of the Year. And that's how they do it. It's not coach voted. There's no, it gets kind of iffy when you have coach voted. There's none of that. It's completely numbers based, completely point based, completely based on who finishes the top of the AAC points wise at the end of the season. I kind of like that.
That's the way it should be. I mean, you look at the MVP race in professional baseball and professional football. And I mean, you go on and on and on. It gets political real fast. Mm-hmm. So if we just did everything by the numbers, you pretty much know who's going to get it at the last game of the season. But then you got to mix in playoffs. Then you got to mix in all this stuff. Listen, if it's all numbers based, I'm behind it 100%, because nobody can sit there and be like, I got cheated. It's who got it and it ahead of time. So that's very, very cool.
As much as I don't like math, numbers aren't political and numbers aren't biased, right? So numbers are just numbers, and you can't argue with them almost.
Yes, you can. I'll say it. I'll be that guy. I mean, statistics, you can argue constantly.
You can argue someone's perception of statistics, but you can't argue the statistic itself. I'll put it that way. How about that?
No.
No?
I still think you can disagree, because, I mean, you look at what statistic is more important. You
yeah,
know?
That's someone's perception of it, right? That's not the actual statistic.
No, what's the
if
actual...
someone bats 360, you can't argue that they bat 360. But what you can argue is how impressive that is, or how important that is, or what other stat they have that
no,
carries.
You can, because, Anthony, if you bat 360 and you've got 10 at-bats, it's different than if you bat 360 and you've got 200 at-bats.
That's true.
Oh.
That's true. But the stat's stat. So you can't say that he's not batting 360. He is batting 360.
No, but he shouldn't be in the conversation for an MVP if he's only had 10 at-bats.
So that's someone's perception of the stat on how good that 360 is.
No,
but the actual stat can't be argued. The number can't be argued.
But you have to have a baseline for that stat, because if you have 10 at-bats, I don't think 10 would be the actual, like, you could bat 300. Right. But let's say that you're batting 300 with 10 at-bats, you're 3 for 10. East Palestine math. If you're batting, 300 and you've got 296 at-bats, it is way more impressive that you're doing that through 296 at bats than you are through 10.
Yeah, but when you say the word impressive, that's immediately the human perception of the stat. But the number is the number.
So if
you know what I'm saying, like the number is the number is the number.
Okay, so if this young man, let's say from a standpoint of golf, if he had 10 points through one match,
Which
or
means he won the match, yeah.
Or he had 10 points through 50 matches.
Which means he only won one match.
Through 50.
Someone else is going to have a lot more than 10.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So like it's relative to the situation. Stats, and this is why I love it. I love baseball because you can have the argument, but there's no like points is the only way to go when you think about it, because you have this many points. It's this many more than the second place and third place and the 50th place. Points is the only way to go. But like golf, I think, is one of the few sports that you can do that.
Right.
Like baseball, football, like how do you do it in football? How do you do
For a
MVPs?
touchdown, I mean, you can't really.
How do you do MVPs in football? Which is why we talked about doing fantasy football, and we ultimately kiboshed it, because how do you do that whenever you have quarterbacks are going to have the most points regardless?
You know, there's this really interesting profession. I'm going to call it a professional league because it's players that go after college and play, and they do volleyball, they do basketball, they do softball, they do lacrosse. Right now it's called Athletes Unlimited, and they have a point system, and it is completely player based. So at the end of the season, it's not a team that wins it. It's a player that wins the championship, completely based on a point total that you make based on how you perform on the field, which is kind of a cool little twist on the realm of sports. They play for a different team every week. They have a draft every week. You're playing with different teammates, and you build up points based on your performance on the field. And you win at the end of the season. It's not like a team win. It's the person wins the Athletes Unlimited Championship.
All of that said, Anthony, as soon as you said realm, I was out, because you and Ty have this like vernacular that's like straight out of like Marvel. Like you're talking about realms and I'm sitting there. I'm like, as soon as you said it, I was like, oh gosh, they
Dimension.
said it. The one day you guys were talking about, I swear you were talking about like Thor, and I was like, what are they? We're talking about realms, like the third realm of the Warren JFK Eagles, and like there's another word we could put there. Realm is like it's out of a comic book.
You know, it's funny. I almost never use that word in like my stories, and I think it's just washed off on my hosting vernacular. I guess I don't know.
It has. You and Ty use realm more than any. Like I swear to you, I watched Love and Thunder the other day. They said realm, and I was like, "Here's that dang word again." What is going on here? Oh, now he's dead.
I guess we're both comic book nerds. What can we say?
You're both nerds, all right. The realm. I'm sitting there. I was like, my goodness. Like, how do we get that out of our vernacular?
We always quote Loki. I consider experience. I know that. It's a good line.
I consider experience.
Yeah, when okay, we're gonna go. Thor says if you consider failure an experience, and then Loki says I consider experience. So when me and Ty are talking sports, and we're talking about kids that have experienced varsity level, they're on the varsity level sports. Oh my gosh. Their experience, and whether they're losing or winning, they're still experiencing what it takes to be on the varsity level. So I consider experience to be experience when we're talking about kids that are experienced versus kids that are new to the varsity level. So
I'm going to take that whole experience, and I'm going to tell you that whole whatever you just unpacked there looked a lot like 4th and 5 from the 50-yard line, like the Broncos and the Seahawks. Like that was a long kick, dude. Like just go at it. Like you.
Hey, you know what? I've never had a long kick before, so I'll take it.
Oh gosh, experience.
Let's get back on the wavelength, and talk about what's on the network tonight. We have 8 volleyball games on the network. It's a good night if you like volleyball. Lakeview traveling to Hubbard. Anthony Romo and Richie will be there. 6:30 start time there in the Eagles Nest. Beaver Local and East Liverpool round 2. Between those two, really close together. They just played last week, but they're playing again in East Liverpool this time.
All right. Oh, turn the mic off.
Excuse me. Mike McKenzie will be on the call in the Potters Fieldhouse. Columbiana will be at United. The school will be taking care of that one. They'll have that covered for you. Girard going to Jefferson. Brian Oatridge making the trip to Jefferson for that one. That's a scrappy Jefferson team. Girard will be tested. Niles travels to South Range, and the Huddle Cam will have that one for you so you can watch it. We have North Canton Hoover at Louisville. Bob Burke will have the call there. Southern at Lisbon will have Scott Hawthorne and Billy Stanton, like we said earlier in the show. That is the Alfred Joy match that they do every year.
Choose Joy.
And then we will also have Warren G. Harding at Austintown Fitch, Ty Bartell there. Struthers at Poland, Noah Doty going to make the call in the Poland Fieldhouse. Wellsville at East Palestine, Chris Sigler making the trip to the Bulldogs gym for that one. And then I will be in Mineral Ridge for Western Reserve at Mineral Ridge round 2. We do have other games happening. Girls soccer, we have Beaver Local hosting St. Clairsville. Boys soccer, if you want to go out and support these teams, Columbiana West Branch would be a good one. Canfield at Austintown Fitch on the boys soccer realm. And there's also a bunch of other volleyball games you can go out and support.
You said it again.
Did I say realm?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That's something I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Trust me, it said a lot on this particular show. There's 11 I counted. Did you say 8?
I thought there were maybe some have been added since my last count.
Okay, Lakeview and Hubbard, Beaver Local, East Liverpool, Columbiana United. We have Girard and Jefferson, Niles and South Range, North Canton Hoover at Louisville, Southern at Lisbon, Struthers at Poland, Warren Harding at Fitch, Wellsville at East Palestine, Western Reserve at Mineral Ridge.
Yeah, I think the last time I looked, I think since then Sigler has picked up the East Palestine game, and I think Louisville turned green too. So I love the announcers picking up games.
That's how we survive, man.
11 in one night. It's going to be a fun one. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3. DJ, what's the status of Power Hour since primetime will be done remotely this week?
We're going to do Power Hour. No Power Hour today.
No Power Hour today because primetime will be once again 5 to 7.
Yeah, we're going to do remote tonight. Could not find a place that wanted to call home this week. Next week we'll be at Wellsville from the Wellsville Elks. So we're excited for that. So if you want primetime on Thursday night to come out your way, please shoot us a message. We would love to do it. So
primetime tonight, you'll talk about all the games and your the boys' perspective of that. We'll probably have some of our announcers come on and preview their game. And then tomorrow afternoon, Running Point will be back 12 to 2. Me and Ty will be on, and we will try to not say realm a lot, and we'll try to keep away from that. And we have Joey Fell coming on at 1:30 from Champion, and his running back, Nick Vesey, coming on right after him at 1:45. So we'll have some Champion interviews to get you ready for Football Friday, as well as previewing all the games on Friday night and going through what our perspective will be on each matchup. And then the picks will be on the Power Hour that day too. So it's going to be a fun Friday, going to be a fun Thursday night. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time on Running Point.